6 months ago, I decided to follow a childhood dream and build my very own scrap metal dinosaur. I absolutely loved it, but the algorithm absolutely hated it and it barely got any views. But I'm not going to let that stop me, because not only am I going to build another one, I'm going to build an entire Jurassic sculpture park in my own backyard. And if I hit 100,000 subs, my wife has given me her blessing to build Jurassic Park Gates to top everything off. But for now, we're going to focus on building Terry the Pterodactyl. So if you're not already following along, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with the journey. If you're here mainly for woodworking content, don't worry, there's still loads of that coming up. These sculpture builds are just passion projects, things that I like to do in my downtime to unwind when I've collected enough materials and I've got enough time. And whilst I'm primarily a woodworker, and that's where my major passion lies, it's really nice to get out of the workshop every now and then, take on something different, work with a different material, and just grow as a maker and just challenge myself a bit more creatively. So don't stress, hang around, there's still loads of woodworking content coming up. But that being said, let's be honest, this was too cool not to build. And there's really no blueprint for building sculptures like this. It really just starts off with a frame and then building an armature off that. And if you don't know what an armature is, it's simply just a skeleton, something to attach the skin to later. And whilst I don't use blueprints when I'm building things like this, and it's very much off the dome, I always use a couple of reference pictures, and this just helps me to keep a track of how the shape's developing, catch anything that's going to look a bit weird or odd sized or out of proportion before I get too far into the build. To build my armature, I'm just using 6mm round bar, and the reason I'm using that is it's really cheap, it's really easy to work with, simple to bend, and it's got a fair bit of flex in it. Even once it's welded into place, it's still fairly easy to manipulate, and it's very simple to cut with the grinder. If something is out of proportion or too big, it's just a simple little nick and tack it back together with the welder. And because I like my sculptures to be a little bit kinetic and a little bit interactive, the round bar is the perfect choice because it allows a bit of flex, particularly in the wings. When the wind hits it, the wings will move slightly, and it just creates a little bit more engagement, a little bit more personality within the build. And whilst I want these wings to move and have some flex, I don't want them to completely collapse if a big wind does come through. So I'm reinforcing them up near the body, and all I'm using is a bit of galvanized flat bar and then trimming it to shape. This doesn't have to be pretty because the whole thing is going to be covered. Now, on my Stegosaurus, the legs were something that I really struggled with, and they were kind of just an afterthought. They look cool, but the body of it's three-dimensional and everything else is three-dimensional, but the legs were kind of just 2D. And I ended up just wrapping the outside with some chain just to give them a little bit of personality. This is something that I really want to improve on this time, and I really want to try a bit harder to make them three-dimensional. And to do that, I'm just going to use the same round bar that I've been using, and I'm going to start off by making a couple of circles and attaching them to the frame, and that will give me a good base diameter to work off, and then I can taper the legs down from there and hopefully get a really aesthetic shape happening. And there's a second reason why I'm paying more attention to the legs this time, in particular the shape, and that is because part of the webbing on the wings actually attaches to the thigh on a pterodactyl. So this is all a part of balancing the silhouette and getting the proportions nailed. Now, I'm not going to get too invested in the head at this point because I'm going to turn my attention back to this later for more shaping. For now, I'm just going to rough in a very simple size and shape profile and then move on to start wrapping the body. Now, if you're wondering what I'm going to use for the skin of this pterodactyl, I'm actually going to use some really rusty barbed wire. And I know that sounds like tetanus waiting to happen, but my tetanus shot's up to date and I covered myself up pretty well, and believe it or not, I never got jabbed once. And I also hear you asking, where on earth do you find like 250 meters of rusty barbed wire? Well, that's one of the perks of living regionally and in a community such as mine. And I actually have a friend who has a beef and marron farm who needed some fences pulled down, and he said, if you come and pull the fences down, you can keep the barbed wire. Now, I don't know if he helped me or I helped him, but in the end, we both got what we needed, so everyone's happy. So I've got two equally crusty old pieces of tin I'm going to use for the wings.
Problem is I don't want them to be corrugated, and I don't want to go out and buy flat sheet to build these wings because it won't match the aesthetic. So I've been trying to come up with a way to flatten all the corrugations out, and I think I'm just going to lay them down in the driveway and just run over them a bunch of times with my ute, and yeah, we'll see how that comes out. And hopefully it might even imprint some of the gravel pattern in there and give it some texture too. So let's do that and see what happens. So let's see how that worked. Oh, look at that. That worked so well. I know it's completely ridiculous, but it ain't stupid if it works.
And now that we've got our tin all flattened out, we need to make a template for the wing shape. And to do that, I'm just going to use a bunch of cardboard, sit it in place, trace out a very rough template shape, and then transfer that onto the tin. And if you're worrying about my dog Olive, don't worry, she's completely fine. She just got spayed. Now that I've got my wing shape marked out on the tin, I can go ahead and cut it out with the angle grinder. And attaching this tin is super easy. I'm just going to use a bunch of pop rivets. And you might have noticed there's some little tabs welded throughout the wing and the frame. Before I wrap the barbed wire, I just cut some little tabs, welded them onto the frame, and that'll give me my anchor points to attach this wing material. And to hold this wing in place temporarily, I'm just going to secure it with some duct tape, and that'll allow both my hands to be free so I can do my drilling and pop riveting. And you've probably got a really keen eye and noticed that the wings are two different colors. That's because I flipped the template, but I didn't flip the tin. But it's not a big deal. Once I had everything secured, I just took my wire wheel and it took me like 5 minutes to zap the paint off. I was a bit disappointed about this because I really wanted both wings to be red on the top side, and I didn't have another piece of tin that was suitable. So missed opportunity there, and a little lesson to just pay a little bit more attention next time. And now we have to tackle the daunting part of this project, the head. Now, the reason it's daunting and the reason I'm nervous to get started on this particular part of this sculpture is because the head is always the focal point. If the head's wrong, if the proportions are out, the eye's in the wrong spot, the mouth looks weird, it completely throws the balance of the whole sculpture out. Doesn't matter how right you got everything else, if the head doesn't look right, the whole thing just looks weird. Now, there's no wrong way or right way when it comes to doing this kind of work. All I'm going to do is start by sort of defining the back shape of the skull and then moving from the front back. And as far as material goes, I'm just using more of this galvanized flat bar. I've got a massive roll of it, so I'm just going to keep cutting little sections, welding it in place, and working my way back and sort of seeing what it needs as I go. I'm going to focus on one side, and then all I have to do is mirror match the other side. Now, there's probably no need to tell you this because you'll probably never notice, but I didn't actually get both sides of the head exactly the same, and I didn't realize it until the process was done. That spike at the top is actually on a slight angle, but it's okay because I counterbalanced that by twisting the head slightly, and it's not really that noticeable. So if you're doing this type of work or any type of work, if there's little defects and it's your first time doing something, just find a way to be proud of what you've done rather than just beating yourself up. Enjoy the process and just learn as you go. And now I need a way to mount this dude. And I was going to hang it from a couple of the trees with a wire, but seeing as how it's kind of heavy and it's wrapped in barbed wire, if a wind got up and someone was under it, we didn't want the risk of it falling and hurting someone. So I've decided to mount it on a pole. And all I'm going to do is dig a hole and insert a post that I can stick another pole into later. I'm just going to use what I've got laying around. I've got an old bag of concrete and a bunch of rocks, and I think that'll be enough to give it enough stability so it doesn't blow over in the wind. Now, the next problem I needed to solve was moving this guy and getting him located onto his pole. It's pretty spiky, being wrapped in barbed wire, so I didn't really want to be trying to pick him up. Even with a couple of people, it would have been a little bit too risky, and I guarantee someone would have got hurt. So I decided Seeing as how I have this roof rack cage on my ute, I would use that to my advantage and fabricate this kind of boom / homemade crane situation. I just welded it up out of a heap of 40 by 40 SHS tubing, and then I attached my block and tackle to it, and that gave me the capability to attach the pterodactyl to the crane and move it.
Whoa.
So there we have it, legends. Terry the pterodactyl is complete. And if you're wondering, yes, he is super sturdy. We've had a couple of massive storms come through and he hasn't gone anywhere. His wings flap beautifully in the wind and I think he looks absolutely amazing. I am very proud. I am not a seasoned metal worker by any stretch of the imagination, but I am extremely keen to learn. And if you liked this video and you want to see more of it, drop me a comment on what you think I should build next, legends. Until then, I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.